The UK Noise Association, which I chair, has produced a short document aimed at the new Labour government. It's called Practical Ways to Cut Noise. A link to the full document is at the end of this presentation. We believe that the new government has a real opportunity to make a difference on noise pollution because there are practical, deliverable measures which are relatively inexpensive and certainly cost effective. That means there are real opportunities to cut noise with big prizes to be won if the government seizes them. Let's consider, first of all, why it is important to tackle noise. First reason is noise matters to people. It matters to voters. Noise is the single biggest cause of complaints made to local authorities in the UK. Millions of people are disturbed by noise. The second reason is that noise impacts heavily on health and the economy. According to the World Health Organization, noise is one of the top environmental risks to health. And noise pollution costs the British economy around £20 billion each year in economic, social, and health costs. The references to this and all the other references are in the full document, which appears at the end of this presentation. The third reason why noise is important and noise reduction is important is that noise is very clearly an equity issue. Low-income communities are most likely to be exposed to unacceptable levels of noise and least likely to be able to do something about it. So, what are the practical solutions? We start with roads and traffic. For the first time, the possibility of quiet traffic in towns and cities is within reach. That's exciting. That's probably historic. And this can be done through the introduction of electric vehicles, low speeds, quiet road surfaces, and noise cameras. The technology is there to make it happen. The prize is within the government's grasp. We move on to aircraft noise. We recognize that aviation is an important industry. It facilitates trade, increases connectivity, and provides jobs. It gives working people new travel opportunities, and it will grow as more people from emerging economies can afford to fly. But we argue here that improving the noise climate need not damage the viability of a key industry. There is a strong case for implementing the noise recommendations of the 2018 Green Paper, key amongst which were a new national noise indicator, noise caps at airports, noise reduction plans at airports, the introduction of multiple flight paths to provide respite for communities, improved noise and insulation and compensation plans, the provision of more information to people moving into an area under a flight path, the promotion of best practice and operating procedures, and the introduction of a new power to direct all airports to publish information such as league tables of airline noise performance. These measures could considerably improve the noise climate for residents impacted by aircraft noise. Moving on to energy noise. With its extensive plans for heat pumps, wind turbines, and the decarbonisation of the grid, energy is the area which Labour will meet its biggest noise challenge. There are considerable doubts generally about the wisdom and practicality of the plan. And certainly in terms of noise, there are big challenges. Looking at the grid, Labour plans to decarbonise Britain's electricity by 2030. It will build a backbone of pylons to transport energy from its source to areas of population. The pylons will largely carry wind energy, though nuclear and solar will use them as well. They will be huge, and they will be noisy. Wind turbines are also critical to Labour's plans. The World Health Organization found people start to get annoyed at lower levels by wind turbine noise than by any other environmental noise. So, where turbines are built onshore, we recommend using accurate noise guidelines, and that no turbine is within at least 1 mile of the nearest residential property. Continuing with energy, the government is promoting heat pumps. Although many people do not experience noise from heat pumps, Institute of Acoustics is very clear and has said air source heat pumps and ground sourced heat pumps generate noise and can potentially cause significant adverse effects to people living nearby. This is particularly the case for those in shared accommodation, flats, and terraced housing. If improved technology comes on stream, the problem may be eased, but any rushed move towards heat pumps will be problematic. The government has, it seems, plans for nuclear. That's welcome, because nuclear is the quietest energy source. Once built, nuclear plants do not cause communities noise problems. The previous government committed £20 billion to fund the development of a network of small nuclear power stations, SMRs as they're called, with the aim of nuclear plants, both small and large, providing 25% of UK energy by 2050. That, we believe, should be the absolute minimum. The important and impressive House of Lords Science and Technology Select Committee, in its report of 2023, said the government should take steps to ensure that the implications of the technological shifts required for net zero and adapting to climate change for noise pollution are understood and addressed early on. We believe that is absolutely essential. Let's move on to neighbour noise. There is legislation in place to deal with neighbour noise. The challenge is for the police and local authorities to have the resources and find the willpower to use them effectively. We believe there are four key things which need to be done. One, local authorities need to be adequately funded and rigorously monitored. There needs to be a crackdown on noise offenders. Residents should be given the right to appeal when local authorities find against them. And finally, the government should instigate a plan to insulate properties across the country, starting with those worst affected. Moving on to the related community noise. Many argue that our towns and cities, parks and streets are noisier than ever before. It need not be like this. Existing or new legislation can be used to provide some peace and quiet, to ensure that there's a clampdown on boom cars and related noisy motorbikes. There's restrictions on playing of amplified music on streets where people work, shop, or live. There's proper enforcement of bylaws that forbid the playing of music in public parks, and a limit to the number of music events allowed in any one park or open space in a year, along with the closure of premises which continue to present a noise problem in a community. We would like to see a ban on gas-powered leaf blowers with tight restrictions on the use of electric ones, and a limit on the number of firework public displays each year. A related problem is background music. It can be a big problem in shops, restaurants, pubs, and hospitals. It can be a particular problem when there's a captive audience, patients in hospitals, nursing home residents, workers in shops or restaurants. 3 key things would help: regulate pipe music in televisions in hospitals and nursing homes, legislate to protect workers in shops, restaurants, and elsewhere, and provide tax breaks for music-free shopping malls. We would urge the government to revisit the Select Committee's recommendations. The much respected House of Lords Science and Technology Select Committee's 2023 report into noise and light pollution made some key recommendations which the previous government rejected. Amongst them were an independent advisory panel that should be set up to provide independent noise advice to the government. Local authorities should be adequately funded and rigorously monitored. Noise should be fully integrated into all policies and plans from the start, and making the average person the benchmark for noise nuisance should be re-examined. If the government takes these measures, a quieter, healthier country is possible. For the first time, possibility of quiet traffic in towns and cities is within reach. The noise impacts of aviation and communities can be cut without damaging the industry. There is legislation in place to deal with neighbor noise. What's needed is funding and monitoring. Inexpensive measures can be put in place to tackle community noise, and simple but effective measures can be taken to tackle unwanted background music. Energy will be the biggest challenge. The noise impacts need to be central to all decisions that are made in this area. And finally, an advisory body could provide independent advice to government and raise the profile of noise. The government should seize the moment and claim the prize. And there's the link to the full report. Thank you very much for listening.